Welcome to Kitchen Chats. I'm glad you're here with me. If you are new to Kitchen Chats is my time where I spend probably about 10, max 15 minutes sharing what's on my heart, what's on my mind. Normally it relates to tarot because that's my jam. So I'm glad you're here. Yesterday's pep talk included, well, like yesterday's kitchen chat was a bit of a pep talk. And I will admit, a lot of my kitchen chats end up that way because that's who I am. I very much enjoy finding a positive outlook on things. Now, I won't say that I'm a realist. There's still a level of realism to it, right? Like, I mean, if you get fired from your job, like, I'm gonna commiserate, right? Like, that's not enjoyable necessarily in this climate to not have a job if it's something that you are relying on, right? So I'll commiserate with you, but also I'll ask you, how do you feel about this? And we'll work together to get you something that you need, right? So the commiseration's there, the disappointment of the moment, I can feel that. But also, I can be like, okay, when you're ready to take action, I want to help you because I know that we can find you what you need. And so that is my mindset. I live with the mindset that everything is figure outable. I have pretty much always tried to live that way. I've probably gotten more so that way since um, marrying my husband, being with my husband. He is very much a everything is figure outable type person as well. And so we do well together in that way. And it is something that definitely impacts my practices, it impacts my life, it impacts a lot of things. And I will not, like I said, I don't say that I'm delusionally optimistic in the sense that I don't know. I say that, but then I'm like, but I want to tell you that we can figure it out, right? And some people think that's delusional. Some people think that just even any level of optimism and feeling that we can figure out how to make it work is some level of delusional. There are some people who are very cynical, and that's just their only way of being, and that's totally fine. Everybody has their own way of showing up in this world. But if you're going to come here and hang out in my kitchen chats, I'm just letting you know, you might end up with a pep talk because where I tend to go with these things. So there's that disclaimer. um, yeah, so yesterday definitely ended up being a little bit of a pep talk. We were talking about taking baby steps, figuring out how to make things work um, in a way that works for you, but not rushing the process necessarily, knowing that there's moments of waiting. And I bring that up because today, my friends, we have a different kind of waiting day. Now, the hanged man, if you can see here, the hanged man is upside down. The hanged man is hanging by one ankle and has this other leg a little jauntily there, and his hands are behind his back. And then you can see this yellow halo. Now, the halo tends to be this idea of enlightenment, I guess you could say. Um, the idea that you've come to a moment of clarity in your mindset, right? And that, my friends, is what the hangman is really all about, is allowing yourself to get to that moment of clarity. Because I'm sorry, you find yourself hanging upside down, you might struggle a little bit to start, right? Like, who wants to be just left hanging upside down? Not most people. Most people, that is not their ideal, comfortable position. And even people who like to be upside down want to be upside down on their own terms. And so today, with the hangman showing up, It's very much okay, how can you be accepting of this situation that you're in that might not be the most comfortable? And the other thing that I talked about yesterday, that I will relate to this card, and I will share it because this is also very much something that I pay attention to when it comes to reading tarot, is that the cards are in order, right? And there's a flow to them. Now, the hangman comes just before the tower. Now, the tower is all about transformation and change. So that means the reason we're hanging upside down, right? The reason that we are being asked to pause and look at things in different ways is because often there's transformation on the other side of this moment. There is an opportunity for things to shift greatly for you, but you need to pause, take a look at it all, look at it in a different way, also potentially, because often if we're struggling, it's because we're not willing to take it in its entirety, right? We're only seeing one aspect of it. But there are other ways you can look at anything. Now, there are context clues often, to help you get a better idea of what is the optimal way of looking at things for you. But it doesn't mean it's the only way of looking at it. And so sometimes we have to flip the script on ourselves and on our situation and kind of consider it from a different point of view. That's why learning is so key in life, right? You learn lessons from all sorts of people in all sorts of different ways if you allow yourself to do that. And so when the hangman shows up, it's ultimately a card that says, hey, you might be feeling a little discomfort right now. Things might not be going the way you're expecting them to, but let's really take a look at that and see what that might mean and how it might mean. Now, for me today, I got back from dropping my kids at preschool, ready to take on the next part of my day, and I decided it was going to work out. I was like, yeah, kids aren't here. I haven't hopped on my Peloton in a while. This is the perfect time. I'm feeling amped up. I'm feeling good. Guess what? My Peloton just got moved into a different room this weekend, and right now it wasn't turning on because it was doing software updates. And I knew that was a potential. That's why I went and turned it on right away. But that meant I was not able to take that action that I wanted to take. Um, and what I could have done, what I do sometimes, is when I can't take the action I want to take, I instead jump to dopamine seeking elsewhere, right? But today, I was in such a good mood and I was so aware that I had already pulled the card for the day, which was in fact the hangman. And I said, what else can I do right now? If this is a moment of waiting for my Peloton to come on, what else can I do in this time besides just scroll on my phone? And I went, oh yeah, let's get lunch ready. Let's record our video. Let's get that ready so that while you're on the Peloton, things like captioning can happen and uploading to YouTube. This pause allowed me to go, okay, let's restructure this time I have this morning, this stretch where I get to do the things I want to do for myself and for my business and for my family, but in a way that I can focus on it and only it, or focus and talk. Um, what can I do instead? And at that moment, I said, cool, let's go record. And so that's why I love pulling a card at the beginning of the day. I briefly mentioned this in my Tarot and Coffee today. Pulling a tarot card for the day gives us that opportunity to keep it in mind when you hit situations and you're stuck. So the Peloton doesn't turn on right away, and now I'm like, I had the motivation to do that thing. Now what do I do? So it was a pause, and I went, hey, I pulled my tarot card already today. What was the card? The card was the hangman. The hangman says, look at this in a different way. This isn't what you're supposed to be doing right this moment. What else can be done at this time? And sometimes it's really just sitting there. But when I re-looked at what I had, what I could do with this time. If the Peloton wasn't turning on, what else could I do? And it was like, well, you still have to do these other things. Why not just get those done? And then you can hop on after that. And it was like, yeah, sweet. So having already pulled my tarot and coffee, I was able to then use that to think about, okay, how can I move forward with the day? And you can do that with any card, right? That's the great thing about doing a single card. You can use that as your advice for the day of going, okay, cool. I need a little shift in perspective. What can I do? How can I approach this? What did tarot advise me this morning? What intuitively did I get when I pulled that card? Cool. Let's work on that. So that is my kitchen chat for today. A little bit deeper into the hangman, a little bit of optimism for you, a little bit of try it out, see if it works for you. And I will see you next time I'm in my kitchen chatting with you. Bye for now.